we're in my backyard on my back porch, and this year I'm experimenting a lot with pots to learn what I can do and know about growing in pots and better understand like folks that live in apartments and things like that, how you guys need to be growing. So anyway, a lot of this, all of this that you see is what I overwintered from last year. I'm actually the rosemary here that's really tall. This wispy rosemary, that's a 2-year-old plant. This is its 3rd season, not counting its, anyway, so in my gardening here on the pots, I've been practicing some companion planting. So like this is rosemary, and in with the rosemary, there's some onion. It's next to these peppers, which it'll help bring in pollinators for the peppers. And speaking of pollinating plants, it's kind of hanging over itself. But this sunflower is actually growing in one of my pots down here. And it's actually kind of hanging out with a pepper. That pepper was from last year that I overwintered. It's having a hard time coming out of dormancy, but it's trying, so we'll just let it keep growing. In this pot, I've got stevia and onions and a potato and stuff like that. And these are all plants that can get along with each other. So some of them will ward off pests so that other plants aren't being bombarded by those pests. And the herbs will bring in beneficial insects. So you've got your the onions, because of they flower, they bring in beneficial insects that want to pollinate. We've got more peppers down here. There is actually a volunteer lettuce right there. Of course, now it's at the bitter stage, but that's fine. It's actually flowering and setting seeds, so then I can collect those seeds and grow some more. I've got overwintered peppers there that are popping out of it. Now, these containers aren't the greatest. They need to be potted up. They need to be in a bigger pot. These two there in the black square tubs, they need to go into some larger containers. And honestly, all of these that have overwintered, it's time to take them out of these pots, kind of refresh them very, very carefully with some healthier soil, add some compost into them, and spruce them up a little bit, repot them, and then they'll really, really grow. And it is okay to do that even right now. Maybe it's a little bit late in the year, but that's all right. It's amazing how hardy plants can be. Now, the only plant I wouldn't do that with would be cucumbers. They absolutely despise having their roots messed with. So I'll just be direct sowing some seeds into some pots. This area here, this is a 7-foot post. My deck is a 20-foot by 12-foot. And I'm going to take some twine. And we've got 3 posts total. And I'm going to run the twine in between. And we're going to try to grow on our deck in pots beans and cucumbers and things like that. Maybe even some mini watermelons and mini pumpkins, and see if they'll climb up the trellis and they'll create shade. And we can, we'll have vertical growing space, and then, our ground is going to be our pots. So this is just a small number of the pots. I've got at least 3 times this to come out of the greenhouse and get up here on the deck. So really looking forward to the, sorry guys, got a terrible cough. Really looking forward to growing this year and doing some fun stuff and bringing you guys along, learning about pots and teaching you guys what I'm learning about growing in pots. Look forward to, hearing what you guys are doing. Now, my gardening tip, if you're, in October for us is when we get our last frost, don't be afraid to go dig up your plants. Like, that's a pepper plant. That's a pepper plant. There's some pretty piddly pepper plants there, but they're trying. There's actually an eggplant in there from last year. So don't be afraid in your garden to dig up what you've got and try to overwinter it. There's a lot of different ways to overwinter and have plants that'll come back in the spring. I mean, some of these peppers, as you can see, are really bouncing back. And the other ones are a little bit slower, but I'm hoping being out here on the deck, they'll pick up here shortly. So, yeah, don't be afraid to try pots. It's such an experiment, but it's been a lot of fun. Like this pot here, this is, I think it's 3rd or 4th season. Same one with the rose. Well, okay, so that would be the 3rd season. So both of these are 3rd year. And like stevia, this is this herb stevia. In our area, growing stevia is kind of a one-shot. That's it. Get another one. But this is its 3rd season. So be willing to try new things and experiment in your garden and see just what you can grow and then overwinter and bring into the next year.